Hey guys! Welcome back. Chapter 19. Home!
It's Esme's chapter. The home.
Bella's coming over to the Cullens' mansion.
As Bella slept, she told him again and again that she loved him, which it still doesn't count. She's still not conscious.
So Edward's just like sucking up all this good juju words of love, and Bella's getting none of it. Edward's just like, we will never have sex ever. Good night. I'd moved to the floor beside her bed when she'd begun her nightly gyrations. So Bella's just like humping her pillow, I guess.
Nightly gyrations. She's having a little sex dream because apparently the only time she can have sex is in her dreams.
Hey!
He's like, okay, I would have to prepare my family. I considered Alice's fairly well-developed friendship with Bella, of which Bella was completely ignorant. Yeah, because everyone is just progressing in their relationships with Bella and she has no idea.
Yeah. Should I express any of these feelings that I'm having and these long thought processes to the person that I'm having them about?
Nah. It did feel a little cruel to keep Alice away from her now that it looks like this is happening. Alice, I guess you can stay into it. Stay in it, Alice. So then he's like, how is Bella gonna react to all my family members? And he goes through them one by one.
Yeah, he's like, all right, what would Bella think of Emmett? I wasn't 100% sure he would behave himself. So I'll promise him a wrestling match to make him behave like a good boy. All right, Jasper is gonna have to keep his distance. He already knows that. Carlisle, he's super excited for her to meet Carlisle because Carlisle's the best.
He's just the very bestest.
Yeah. Esme would be ecstatic. The thought of Esme's pleasure almost had my mind made up.
Because Esme's just happy to have a guest.
Yeah.
She's like, I get to host.
Show off the home.
At the home. Ah!
But there's just one obstacle. Rosalie.
Fuck Rosalie.
There's gotta be some prep work, which means leaving Bella to go talk to Rosalie. Edward, never break a promise. Cullen breaks his promise to not leave tonight and goes to leave. So he leaves. Alice had done her part as usual because Alice is his errand boy, as we know. And Rosalie is just sitting out on the porch being like, why the fuck am I out on the porch?
Alice is like, okay, places everyone. Rosalie, porch.
Then Edward shows up and she's like, oh, what now? I should have known this had something to do with you.
She's like, oh, when Alice told me to sit out here, I should have known that it was to help you because that's all Alice ever fucking does.
Yeah. He's like, Rose, can we talk? She's like, fine. What do you have to say? And this is kind of like a parallel between the river moment where he and Rosalie were sitting at the river while Emmett was being changed, and then they came back as brother and sister. This is kind of like a similar relationship growth moment. So he's like, come for a walk with me. She purses her lips and nods because she always gotta do that duck face.
He's basically like, okay, I'm gonna be bringing Bella home and I want to ask you a favor, and that favor is you have to be nice to her. And Rosalie's like, no.
He's like, she's part of my life now. That makes her a part of yours. I know you didn't ask for this and you don't want it. And she's like, no, I didn't ask for it.
And I don't want it.
Okay, well, there's a little something that my girlfriend taught me about. It's called double standards. You didn't ask my permission to bring Emmett home. And she's like, that's different.
And he's like, yeah, it is different. He's now a permanent part of my family and you get to marry him every 5 years. Of course it's different. And why can't I have a little piece of happiness, Rosalie?
Yeah. Why can't I have a girlfriend as a treat?
As a treat.
She's like, okay, well, did you feel harmed when I chose Emmett? Did that injure you in any way? Referring to like the burning sensation of like smelling a live human.
Well, also her emotions are hurt. Because like seeing Bella reminds her of like everything that she could have had and can't because she lost her humanity.
Yeah. And Edward's like, wait, what? This is why? You weren't just mad because I thought a girl was pretty and I didn't think you were pretty? Because that's what I thought this was about. She's like, no, you idiot. I don't give a frick who you think is pretty. All right, no, this is about being human.
Fully about her humanity.
Idiot.
Like, dummy.
And he's like, don't worry. I'm not gonna let her become a vampire. Because why would I ever ask her what she wants?
Yeah, no. This is the first time that Rosalie realizes that Edward has like no intention of taking that humanity away from her. Kind of rude that they're having this conversation just without Bella. Like, guys, her body, her choice.
She's like, that's not your goal. And he's like,
no,
my
goal is to leave her human and break up with her.
Hello.
Duh.
She's gonna be 25 eventually. How long until she gets bored of the 17-year-old? Do you think I can keep her interested until she's 23? Maybe 25? Eventually, she'll move on to the island of old gals.
And that's where it stops. 25, that's my limit.
The limit is -1.
Rosalie's like, oh, really? Because no, you fucking won't.
Yeah, how do you see that working?
The limit does not exist.
He goes, I'll tell her why it's wrong. I'll tell her everything she'll lose. And Rosalie goes, okay. And when she begs, because she will, because Bella is of course going to beg you to be on equal footing with you, mind, body, and spirit. She's going to not want to feel like the lesser part of a relationship, no matter how long this lasts.
Yeah.
She's going to figure it out eventually. She's going to ask you, and Rosalie is correct.
Yeah, Edward's like trying to pretend like this isn't even a thing, but there's a reason he's been avoiding telling her how vampires are made, because he inherently knows that she's gonna want that.
Yeah, she's a child. She can't think about her future because she's just not mature enough to understand the gravity of this situation, and you're putting her into it in the first place, which is wrong.
He says, will you try? And she says, I can try.
Fine. Fine. And he goes, good, because there's a chance Alice saw Bella come into the house in the morning, like hours from now.
Whoa, I need more time than that.
Not cool.
No. So Rosalie's not gonna be hanging with the family today.
Which is a bummer, but you know, do you, Rosalie? I get it.
Obstacle out of the way.
Yeah, better for everyone that you're not there.
Yeah.
Just kindly off, please.
Yeah. But anyway, Edward's like, time to put on some fresh clothes, changing out of the slutty shirt from the date.
Alice comes around and says, everything looks perfect for Bella's visit, just as I'd envisioned. Cute. Edward says, but you're not taking Bella's desires into account. Are we taking Bella's desires into account now? Because we were just talking with Rosalie about how what Bella wants doesn't matter.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
double standard right back at you.
Alice says, speaking of Bella's desires for her own life and body, the vision of her becoming a vampire is still stronger than any other future for her now that you guys are through the knot. She pictured the intertwined ribbons of Bella's future. Some were solid, some insubstantial, some disappearing into the mist. There, in the sturdiest thread, Bella of the blood-red eyes and diamond skin still held the most prominent place.
And Edward just goes, ugh, into the vision and makes it disappear.
No. He's like, that's never gonna happen.
Her body, not her choice.
Yeah.
He goes back to Bella's room.
Runs back and waits for her to wake up in the chair. Can't get back in her bed after those gyrations.
Ew. Bella wakes up and's like, where's my boyfriend?
Where is my boyfriend? He says, your hair looks like a haystack, but I like it. Rude.
Edward, you stayed.
She says, I was sure it was a dream. He goes, you're not that creative. I thought I dreamed it. You're too dumb to come up with this on your own.
She runs over and sits in his lap.
She's in his lap.
Yeah, we're just casually like running to each other now.
This is sexy. She notices that he changed his clothes and she's like, you left?
You broke a promise?
And he's like, well, you were humping your pillow and I got uncomfy.
Yeah.
So I had to leave.
Plus, I can't like walk around in that slutty shirt all day. People are gonna think I'm a whore.
He's like, don't worry that I left. You were very deeply asleep. You definitely did not notice. And all the talking had pretty much stopped at that point. And then she's like, oh yeah, shit, I talk in my sleep. What did I say? And he says, you said you loved me.
And she says, well, you already knew that, she whispered. It was nice to hear just the same. Yeah, it is nice to hear, Edward. It would be really nice to hear. Bella, being obliging as always, says, I love you, again, to him, awake now. So it counts.
So it counts. It counts.
Yay.
And good job. And Edward responds with, you are my life now, which he, I guess, thinks is greater than or equal to saying, I love you too back. And it fucking isn't.
No, as if that would not devastate me that he specifically didn't say I love you back. Like, I would be reading into like, why didn't he say love? Like, the L word is the big thing, and I just like casually said it to him, and then he's like, you are my life now?
I'd be crushed.
Edward says, breakfast time, and then Bella goes, breakfast time, am I breakfast? And he's like, that's not funny. And she's like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was funny. And
like,
agree.
A little funny. I folded her over my shoulder and darted from the room. Whoa, she gasped as I turned her upright and set her gently down on a kitchen chair. Picks her up, throws her up for his shoulder, just like taps her on the butt really quick and like walks away. Very cute.
That's definitely like one of the cuter parts of a relationship when like you just get like thrown around or whatever. You pretend to be mad. You're like, oh my God, put me down. Never put me down. Never put me down. If you do put me down, it better be throwing me against the bed. Ow. Bella gets herself some off-brand Cheerios because she's poor.
She looks back and goes, can I get you anything? He rolls his eyes and goes, just eat, Bella.
No time for her this morning.
Stop trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Women are not funny.
Yeah, it's not working. It's not hitting. She's like, so what do you want to do today? And he's like, do you want to meet my entire family? And she's like, that sounds like a terrible second date, but okay.
She's like, what if they don't like me? He's like, what's the big deal? They already know everything about you. There are no secrets in this family because of all the mind reading and future seeing and mood sensing. So like, don't even trip. You're just walking into a situation where everyone knows you better than you probably know yourself.
Yeah.
What's there to be afraid of? Also, they're vampires.
Bella's like, well, also, Jasper just makes everyone feel warm and fuzzy, makes you spill your guts. Don't forget that. And he's like, wow, you paid attention. And she's like, yeah, I don't know. When you were telling me all of your family members have superpowers, that was kind of like, noted. Awesome. Sick. Cool. What? And then she's like, so did Alice see me coming? And then Edward's like, does a double take because she's like casually mentioning his family's superpowers. Like, but, I mean, yeah, she did. Stop.
Her total acceptance of Alice's word as law touched my rawest nerve. She found the clue.
Since we're talking about introducing each other to our families, you should introduce me to your father too, I think, I said casually.
Casually, I'm gonna bring it up.
As your boyfriend, I mean. And she's like, why?
He says, isn't that customary?
I don't know, she admitted. That's not necessary, you know? I don't expect you to. I mean, you don't have to pretend for me.
She's like, we're still secretly dating.
Yeah, and I like it that way.
I like it that way. And he says, I'm not pretending. This is no Bridgerton ruse. She doesn't answer. She just looks down at her breakfast and stirs the remains of her off-brand Cheerios. And he goes, are you gonna tell Charlie I'm your boyfriend or not? You got a bang or not?
And then she's like, is that what you are? He was like, well, it's a loose interpretation of the word boy, I guess. She's like, I was under the impression that you were something more, actually. Again, trying to get words of affirmation and defining the relationship.
I was under the impression that we were like immortally betrothed.
But then he's like, well, we don't have to give him all the gory details. And she's like, okay, that wasn't exactly what I was searching for, but all right.
She's like, if you want to talk gory details, let's talk more about why we can't bang. He says, he will need some explanation for why I'm around here so much. I don't want Chief Swan getting a restraining order put on me. And she goes, will you be? Will you really be around all the time? And he's like, as long as you want me. Until she asked me to leave, I was hers. Which is a lie, because he's planning on breaking up with her. He just told Rosalie.
She glares at him, an intense gaze. I'll always want you. Forever. He's like, oh God, Rosalie was right. She's gonna beg.
Because she says that, it just reaffirms what he already knew, that she's gonna want to be a part of his life and the vampireness of it all. He's clearly having a thing about it, because she looks at him and goes, does that make you sad? He responds by saying, are you finished with your breakfast? She's like, yeah, I guess so. And he goes, get dressed. He waits for her in the foyer, and she comes downstairs and is like, okay, I'm decent. And he's like,
he's like, disagree, you look utterly indecent.
She's wearing the boner blue blouse, his favorite. He says, my favorite, I supposed. What do you mean?
You haven't stopped talking about it.
This is so clearly your favorite shirt.
Rippled across her skin like water.
Silk. I don't remember, but it was important. The blue had flowed like water along the subtle shape of her body. Oh my God, boner alert!
Anyway, he conveniently does not mention a very important article of clothing that was mentioned in Twilight, the floor-length maxi khaki skirt.
This is an iconic Twilight meme, and Stephenie Meyer must have known because she just does not address it at all.
Oh, she specifically didn't bring it up because she didn't want to have to deal with Edward describing how utterly indecent this utterly decent and honestly hideous floor-length khaki skirt look.
Steph Meyer does not want to get into it, so she just leaves it out entirely, which was a huge letdown because this is half the reason I bought this book to begin with was to get a POV on the skirt.
No, after I got through this whole part, I kept like flipping back, being like, wait, did she not? Where does it? Did I skip it? Wasn't I paying attention?
How could she not have brought it up?
Omitted.
God damn it.
Anyway, Bella's looking sexy AF.
She says, okay, I'm decent. And he says, wrong again. You are utterly indecent. No one should look so tempting. It's not fair. She's like, well, I'm going to meet your family. Do I look slutty? I can change.
Yeah, oh God.
Last night, she'd asked me if I was attracted to her as a woman. Although it felt like it was so obvious as to be ridiculous, maybe, somehow, she still didn't understand. You are so absurd, I laughed. And then kissed her forehead, his favorite place, letting the feel of her skin against my lips wash like a wave of electricity down the length of my body. Shall I explain how you are tempting me? Yes, you should.
Please do.
She has been waiting for this kind of affirmation for some time.
Yes, elaborate.
Please.
Thank you. Though I'd meant to tease her, I was soon lost in the moment as well. My lips brushed against her temple, and I heard my breath speeding to match her heart. Her fingers trembled against my chest. I only had to incline my head, and then her lips, so soft and warm, were just a hair's breadth away from my own. Carefully, wary of the power of the alchemy, I touched my lips to hers. Moving with what caution I could muster in the face of what I was feeling, I pressed my lips more firmly against hers, savoring their soft yield. I was not as much in control of myself as I should have been. I let my lips fall open, wanting to feel her breath in my mouth. Just at that moment, her legs seemed to give out, and she slid through my arms toward the floor. She's like, French kissing? Is there gonna be tongue?
French kissing. She's like, au revoir. Goodbye.
Ooh la la.
She faints.
You, me, faint. What am I gonna do with you? Yesterday, I kissed you and you attacked me. Today, you passed out on me. She giggled, choking on her laughter. So much for being good at everything. I muttered, that's the problem. You're too good. Far, far too good. Ew.
She's like, okay, what the plan is to go see your family. I don't really want to do this, but let's do it. So they drive, and they drive forever because the Cullens live pretty far away. They're approaching his house, and it's a big house, and it's very, very nice. Esme had excellent taste, so I knew the house was objectively beautiful. She's like, wow. Esme hears from all the way away, and it's like, yeah. They are about to get out of the car, and he's like, ready? And she goes, not even a little bit, let's go. He laughs and tweaks her ponytail.
And he's just like, ready? She's like, sure. Ow.
You ready? Let's go. They walk in. It's time to meet the fam. Everything is just as Alice envisioned. Good sign. Everyone stood back half a dozen paces from the door, giving Bella some breathing space. Esme was as nervous as Bella seemed to be. Bella's literally like, hi. And Esme's like, I adore her, Edward.
Thank you for bringing her to see me, since I never leave this place. They're like, where's Alice and Jasper? Alice has perfect timing. She was waiting for her announcement to come down the staircase. She says, hey, Edward. Then she really ran, not in a human way, down the steps and hurled to a stop just inches from Bella. Then Alice springs forward and kisses her cheek.
Whoa.
She dashes forward, kisses Bella on the cheek, and is like, you smell nice.
Doesn't even say hi. Everything is going great because Jasper is keeping his distance, but he's mooting everybody real nice.
Yeah, he's setting the vibe. Rosalie and Emmett aren't around. Emmett's trying to calm Rosalie down. Carlisle Thots speaks to Edward to let him know that Alice saw some visitors coming, some other vampires. But like, don't worry about that right now, but like, just so you know.
Foreshadowing. Remember this for later. Bella says they have a beautiful home, and Esme orgasms on the spot.
Yeah. Bella looks at the piano, and Esme's like, do you play?
Do you play? Bella's like, no, I don't play the piano, but it's so beautiful. Is it yours? And Esme goes, Edward didn't tell you he was musical? Edward, go play! Get your ass to the piano right now! Esme forces Edward to play the piano at gunpoint this time. Because now that there's a lady caller at the house, we must put on all the production of welcoming her into the home. Bella's like, I mean, I'd like to hear you play. And Esme's like, that settles it. Guides them to the piano, still holding Edward at gunpoint. Edward starts to play, and Bella's mouth falls open because he's the best piano player in the world. I chose Esme's song. It was a joyful song, a triumphant song, suited to the day's mood. And Esme is just in the corner vibrating. Yes, play the piano, play.
Carlisle's like, let's give everyone some privacy. So he drags Esme across the floor while she's just scraping it, making claw marks marks. Like she's like, no, the piano. But it's so quiet. Nobody knows it's really.
Everybody fucks off to give them their space.
And Edward starts playing Bella's Lullaby, and it's so beautiful that Bella cries. She cries.
He's so good at piano that Bella just feels bad about herself in general, and that's why she's crying.
Oh yeah, she's crying because she just sucks at everything and killed 3 fish.
They like you, you know. Esme especially. She twisted to peek over her shoulder. She's like, where the did they go?
Whoa.
They all just secretly vampired away.
Yeah, and she was like, I thought this was a day of like meeting your family. I like said hello to them and they're all gone now.
Actually, Esme wouldn't care if you had a third eye and webbed feet. Yeah, Esme wouldn't care if you were a literal mutant duck. She's just happy to see me finally find someone. And Bella's like, good, because I feel like a up duck on the inside.
Yeah.
She's ecstatic. Every time I touch you, she just about chokes with satisfaction.
And she's like, well, Alice seems very enthusiastic.
And Edward's like, yeah, now you get it.
It's like, so, how's the house? You like it? Not what you were expecting? She's like, not really. And he's like, no coffins, no piled skulls in the corner. I don't even think we have cobwebs because all Esme does all day is clean, clean. I clean, I clean, I clean, I clean. I get the cobwebs over here and the cobwebs over there. A tiny speck of dust falls from the clouds and then I grab it, I grab it, I grab it, grab it, grab it.
That's how Esme's song actually goes.
Yeah.
That's what he was playing on the piano.
Just really chaotic, like ding, 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 ding. It's the one place we never have to hide.
Aww.
Her eyes were swimming with tears. She cried because the music I'd created for her had touched her. Nah, dude. She was crying because she was like, I'm bad at everything.
She's literally like, I am inadequate.
I have no talents. One tear glistened in the corner of her left eye, shining in the brightness of the room. A tiny, clear piece of her. An ephemeral diamond. Acting on some strange instinct, I reached out to catch it with my fingertip. Round on my skin, it sparkled as my hand moved. I swiftly touched my finger to my tongue, tasting her tear, absorbing this minute particle of her. I swallowed Bella's tear. Perhaps it would never leave my body. After she left me, after all the lonely years had passed, maybe I would always have this piece of her inside me.
He eats the tear. She stared at me curiously. But I had no sane way to explain. How do I explain that? I won't. Want to go see the house?
Grabs her tear, is like, if I eat this, it could be inside me forever. So you want to see the rest of the house? Belle's just like, what? What just happened?
What?
She's like, alright, let's go.
Okay.
Tour. It's a tour.
House tour.
Cute. Up the next flight of stairs, Bella stops because she sees
a big cross.
Yeah, and she's like, all right, what? She's like, it must be old. Does Carlisle collect antiques? And he's like, no, Carlisle is an antique.
No, he is an antique.
Yeah. No, he's like really old.
She's like, well, how the old is he?
He just celebrated his 362nd birthday.
Okay, Nicholas Flamel.
Yeah, he's got that sorcerer's stone handy. Yeah, we're just guessing. We just picked a date for Esme's sake.
Time was not marked as accurately then, for the common people anyway.
I'm like, is that true?
Is that true?
Do people just not know what day or year it was?
What? How did they do anything?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, I'll meet you on Tuesday.
What is that? I'll meet you at dusk after 6 more dusks.
Yeah, after a fortnight, but like, who knows what that is?
He was the only son of an Anglican pastor, and his mom died giving birth to him. Because of course she did.
Yeah, her last memories are just biting down on a block of wood with the last 4 teeth she has and pushing and wondering what the the date is.
Yeah, the 1600s sound like fucking shit.
They're just like hunting medieval creatures like werewolves and vampires and witches. But Carlisle's like, I know that everyone we're killing is innocent.
Yeah.
Obviously, because like real vampires are super strong and would win.
He finds an actual coven of vampires, and that's when he realizes that he's killed all these innocent people, and he's like, oh.
He's like, those are different. Those are not who we've been killing.
No. He goes to summon the mob and their pitchforks and torches, because this is literally 1600, and they attack the vampires, and it doesn't go well.
Yeah, no, the vampires are like slashing everybody, biting everybody, being like, all right, you wanted to fight, you gotta fight. The vampire's like, there's way too many people. This is really obvious. This is gonna be a scene.
Yeah,
so,
like the Volturi's gonna know. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna know.
So he's like, I'll just grab as many as I can carry. Road beer. He's outie.
The vampires are obviously able to subdue them, and one of them accidentally slashes Carlisle across the bicep in the escape, and enough venom gets into his arm that he's like, oh, The gash in his hand was far from any major vessels. The slash in his arm had missed both the brachial artery and the basilic vein. This meant a much slower spread of the venom and a longer transition period, as the conversion from mortal to immortal was the most painful thing any of us had ever experienced. An extended version was not ideal, to say the least. And that's pretty much all Carlisle's knowledge about vampire bites and how they work. He turned out fine. He was like, oh, I'm nice. Maybe where you bite the person when you change them affects the temperament of the vampire that emerges.
Yeah, he's like, the slower the venom spreads, the nicer the vampire.
Makes sense. When he changes Edward, he bites him in the exact same place. So when creating his first son, he chose to imitate his own wounds. He always felt bad about that, especially as he later found that the method of conversion actually had no bearing on the personality and desires of a new immortal.
He didn't have time to slowly change Esme because she was like really effed up. So he just corn on the cobbed her and was like, let's just get this going as fast as we can. We'll confront her evilness later. It's all good. And Esme turned out to be as
Lovely.
docile as the best of them.
Pretty much no time has passed since Edward is just reminiscing about Carlisle's past and his own. And we come back to the present moment, and he's like, do you have any more questions? And she's like, yeah, like so many.
She's just staring at this cross and like and imagining like, oh, 1600s, just like hell on earth, and Carlisle slowly turning into a vampire in pure agony, and she's like, yeah, I got a few questions.
And then he's like, okay, let's go ask Daddy. And that's the end of the chapter. Ew. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. We post new chapters every week. So yeah, if you like what you're seeing, there's more to come. So hit the subscribe button and you'll get a little notification like, hey, new video, that girl and that other girl, I love them. Maybe I'll give it a watch.
Thank you and stay tuned.
Yay!